Welcome back to Game 3 here at the Laughlin Center as the visiting University of Health Science and Pharmacy of St. Louis Eutectics coming to town to face your Lincoln Christian University Red Lions. I'm Jared Glassford. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Red Lion Network. And it's been a long, long evening. If you remember, way back at about 6 o'clock. So it's been actually about 4 o'clock. It's been a while. It's been about 4.5 hours since then. You saw LCU take on Trinity International, fall in a 3-game series. But if you're just tuning in, you missed the middle game. It was a doozy, 5-game set. But the University of Health Science and Pharmacy held on to beat the Trojans in a 5-game series. That was an exciting matchup. We got a best-of-5 series coming at you right now here on the Red Line Network, and we're just getting started. Here we go. Rogers tips it up. Price at the net has it, and that will land inbounds, and the Eutectics strike first. So Tracy Bologna checks out. Michaela Fultz checks in. We got Tracy Bologna, Phoebe Olden, Lee Cleggett, Jordan Price, Sam Hazard, Alicia Smith, all starting tonight for the Red Lions. The liberos is Karis Horton. They're in the red uniforms, black lettering and white trim. Karis Horton, of course, in the black uniform, red trim, white lettering. And for the Eutectics, we got Mackenzie Rogers, Lauren Brown, Cassidy Reno, Evelyn McQueen, Brianna Landrum, and Darlene Zedeker, all in the black uniforms, and the libero, Aubrey Mann, in the gray uniforms. Eutectics lead this one so far 2-0. And here we go now. Cleggett lifts one up. Excellent way to get it over the net for Cleggett, and they're going to say it was over the net. So we're taking a second, make sure that for those of you wondering right now, the mascot Eutectic, what that means, they're at a soccer game, asked my good buddy Professor Frank Dickin, asked him what it means in the Greek term, and he said the word literally means melts well. So they are right now, the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy melts wells. So there you go, courtesy of Dr. Frank Dickin. I don't know how I remember that, but here we go. Cleggett puts it up over the top, left side that time to Hazard, and that lands on the floor. Give the point to LCU, and they get their first point of the evening. So Alicia Smith checks out. Franny Nault checks in, the 5'2 freshman from Hebron, Indiana, by way of Lowell High School. It is now 1 serving 3. Here we go, the serve up by Nault. Does not make it over the net. So Eutectics take the lead 4-1 now. Here we go, Cassidy Reno, set to serve, 5'9 senior from O'Fallon, Illinois. Had a couple of really key serves late in the sets of the last game against Trinity International. Rogers lobs it up, kicks it over that time to McQueen. LCU now with possession. Hazard takes a swing at it, kicks it into the back row of the Eutectic defense. Left side that way goes to Zedeker. Great ball movement. Brown has it, and Brown is one of the most dangerous hitters on this entire Eutectic team, and it showed right there. She got him off balance, able to return, and the score by the Eutectics. Here we go now. Reno with the serve. Kicks it up in the air. Cleggett back to Jordan Price. Price has her attempt blocked, and that will go back out of bounds. So it's now 5-2 in favor of the University of Health Sciences. So we have Sam Hazard now to serve. Senior from Atlanta, Illinois. Mentioned this in the fall, very young LCU team. We got one senior, and you got the 2 juniors, and Jordan Price and Karis Horton. But everybody else on the team is a freshman, so a very, very young team. A lot of new additions, especially with the newest addition, the freshman basketball player turned volleyball player, Avery Seidel, number 16. So The new keep getting newer, and the future is bright here for the Lady Red Lions on the volleyball side of things. Also like to remind you, they play tonight in this game. They have a game tomorrow. They play on Saturday, and that is it for the homestand. Every other volleyball matchup of the year will be on the road. So this is it this weekend for volleyball action on the Red Lion Network. As here we go now, but mentioned this a couple times before in the earlier games, a very exciting time here at LCU as we right now have baseball, men's and women's soccer, and volleyball all playing at the exact same time. So it's very exciting times here. A lot of good athletics going around, and just could not be by working for the athletics department, it gets crazy busy, but very exciting time with a lot of sports going on is what you really want to see if you're a Red Lion right now. As Brianna Landrum checks back in. Set to serve now, that is Lauren Brown. Here we go now, Claggett hits in the middle to Bologna. Bologna very good at the middle hits. It goes up, Null, over to Claggett. Jordan Price hits in the back row, and that goes into the net, and the score goes over to the Tactics. They lead now 8-3. Here we go now, Lauren Brown with the serve. Gets it over. Price has it. Up top to Claggett. Kicks over to Olden. Olden lifts it over the top. And here we go now back in the Red Lion side of things. Claggett hits it back to Bologna. She pushes it back right to Brown, who has it now. Rogers. That time to Londman. And here come the Red Lions. Olden got to do something with it, and she throws it into the net. The point goes in favor of UHSP. So it'll be 9 serving 3 now. Here we go. Claggett. Little misdirection right there. Usually really successful. At least she was in the fall with that, but not able to get that there. The ball goes out of bounds, and now 10-3 in favor of the Tactics. Here we go. Melania, good hit right there, right in the middle. They go back over the hit by Landrum, and that hits the deck. The Tactics continue to roll off the momentum they have after that impressive 5-game series win against the Trojans of Trinity International University. One of them in which they went to extras. It was 27-29 ball game. So Claggett has it. Back row hit for Jordan Price. Price gets it over. Rogers has to lob it up. They finally does. Ends up in the hands of Marino. Rogers once again going at her. Goes at Landrum. Block party by LCU, and that goes out of bounds. Give the points to LCU. Access denied once again by Claggett and Bologna. So Alicia Smith checks in. Up with Lee Claggett at the service spot. The freshman from Kankakee, Indiana. The lone Hoosier on this team in a sea of, I'm not sure what you call people from Illinois, Illinoisians, something like that. Either way, she's from Indiana, and everybody else is from Illinois. As that goes out of bounds, it is now 12-4. The serve up that time by Mann. Claggett to Alicia Smith. Rogers hits into Brown. Brown, a very hefty hit right there, but line judge Ian Pence says that it was out of bounds, so guess that's the call, and that will be a point for LCU. That'll put Phoebe Olden, the freshman from Groveland, Illinois, at the service spot. Price, good dig that time by Price. Globs it up to Hazard. Hazard tries to take a swing at it. Ends up being returned. Landrum up to Olden. To Claggett, back over to Hazard. Hazard takes a swing, and that goes out of bounds. Coming in the game, number 16, Darlene Zedeker. Set back to serve is Mackenzie Rogers. Rogers on the serve. Here we go. Claggett. Alicia Smith on the right side, and Smith puts it just out of the reach of Mackenzie Rogers to give LCU possession off the side out. Here we go now. 6 serving 13. Bologna on the serve. That lands in bounds. Excellent spot right there by Tracy Bologna. It's now 7-13. Bologna, the 5'9" freshman from Havana, Illinois, by way of Havana High School. Is that serve well short? Utectics get the point, and they double the score of the Red Lions. Here you go, Caitlyn Kidd, the southpaw server, comes back into the game. She goes up, and a bullet serve straight to the net results in a point for the Red Lions. Here we go. Null checks in. Alicia Smith checks out. So Franny Null, one of the better servicemen in all of NAIA volleyball, has an excellent serve right there, and that lands inbounds. Give the point that time to the University of Health and Science and Pharmacy, otherwise known as UHSP. I don't know if they actually abbreviate that way, but that's how we're doing it tonight. Here we go now. Cassidy Reno on the serve, and that goes way out of bounds. Give the point to LCU. Here we go now. Sam Hazard with the service. Gets it in. Rogers lobs it up. Lobs it over. That time to Queen. Hits it back over. Rogers up top that time to Kidd. As Olden, she'll take a swing. That lands in bounds. Give LCU the points. Sam Hazard still in service by way of Cornerstone Christian Academy. Mentioned the lone senior on this LCU team, as we're going to have something for her tomorrow night. And that'll be a fun event we have here at Laughlin Center. You don't want to miss that. Got games at 5 and 7 tomorrow night on the Red Lion Network. As LCU gets the points to cut into this lead, it's now 15-11. Hazard the serve. Lobs it up. Brown has it. And that spot just off the hand of Sam Hazard. And the lead goes back up to 5 for the Utectics. Here we go now. Good effort that time by Franny Null, but Utectics still able to capitalize and score off that one. Here we go. Price lobs it up. Here we go now. Kidd to Price and Olden hit together. Olden gets it back over the net. That's all that matters. Good swing through by McQueen, and she scores. It's now 17-11. Josie Barron back to serve. Barron goes up, and that's out of bounds. So we go. Fultz checks out, and Tracy Bologna checks in. That'll put Jordan Price back to serve. Good serve by Price right there, and here come the Utectics. Olden, Cleggett, back to Bologna. She swings. Excellent spot right there by Tracy Bologna, and its lead cut back down to 5. Price on the serve. 13 serving 18. Brown, she'll take a swing. Cleggett over to Olden. Free ball at the net, and the point going to be to LCU. Here we go now. Price with service. That is out of bounds. Lead back up to 5, and Eutectics now control the side out. So it'll be 19 serving 14. Here we go. Bologna on the middle hit. She pushes it back throw. Swing through that time by Landrum. And Landrum hits the deck and scores. It's now 20-14. And right now, UHSP just 5 points away from taking set number 1. That a bullet serve straight to Karis Horton. Here we go. Price, she takes a swing. Hit up in the air. That's Rogers. Rogers back to Landrum. Olden. Cleggett. And both teams doing a good job right now moving the ball side to side. But that way out of bounds. And it's now 20-15. And here we go now. Lee Cleggett. Hit up top to Rogers. Oh, and a little miscommunication by the Red Lions ends up in a point going the way by the Eutectics. Here now, service by Mann. Good spot right there by Reno. And it's now a 22-15 ball game. Here we go. Aubrey Mann now to serve. Up to Olden. Olden to Bologna. Cleggett just got to push it out. And here we go now. Mann goes from behind, gets it over the net. Cleggett goes back to Horton. Here we go. Rogers goes over to Landrum. Good hustle right there. Jordan Price gets it over. Free ball to the net. Rogers gets it up. Brown takes a swing. Cleggett back to Olden. And here we go. Olden hits it in. Excellent hustle by both teams right now. Smith, Cleggett, over to Olden. And good volley by both teams, but the Red Lions come away with points. So Phoebe Olden now to serve. As that one hits the deck. It's now 23-16. Check it in the game now. We got Darlene Zedeker from Naperville, Indiana. Mackenzie Rogers on the serve. As that one lobbed inbound, says line judge Ian Pence. So now it is set points for the Eutectics. Serve up by Rogers. Dug up by Hazard. Little give and go with Hazard and Cleggett. And here we go. Brown lobs it up. Good hit by Smith. Landrum got to get it out of the way. And as nobody goes for it, and that concludes set number 1. So Eutectics take it by a score of 25-16. We're going to take a break. We'll be back here for set number 2 here in just a moment on the Red Lion Network. Welcome back here for set number 2. If you're just tuning in, the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy of St. Louis took set number 1 by a score of 25-16. So they've won a couple sets in a row, as that is now 3 in a row for the Eutectics, but the Red Lions strike to scoreboard first in this one. So that'll bring in Franny Nall to serve. Here we go now. Landrum hits it up. We got an intense play at the net right now. Good swing through and score. Nope, they're going to say is out of bounds. Says line judge Ian Pence. So now 2-0 in favor of the Red Lions. So Nall goes up, hit up the air by Rogers, hit over that time to Zediker, and that is out of bounds. Here we go now. Brown, good swing through, and they're going to say that went out of bounds in favor of the Red Lions. It's now 4-0 in favor of LCU. Nall on the service. Kicks it up. Here we go. Rogers gets the demand. Price pushes it back. As that is in. So Eutectics get on the board by a ferocious hit that time by Darlene Zediker. And checking into this one, Caitlyn Kidd. It's up. Hazard takes a swing. Here we go now. Mann. Over to Brown, and Brown finds the weak spot in the Red Lions defense, and it's now 4-2. Here we go now. Kidd up to Hazard, to Cleggett. Over to Franny Nall, an excellent spot right there as Cassidy Reno able to get up and smack that down. It's now 3-4. So Kidd on the serve. To Nall. Cleggett over to Price, and they're going to call Cleggett with the double hit. So just like that, this set is all tied at 4 apiece. Cleggett not going to be able to get that in time, and it is now 5-4. The Eutectics have just taken their first lead of the set. Cleggett kicks it over that time to Price. Price lobs it up. So back to Price. Excellent hustle right there by Franny Nall. But the lead extends now for Health and Science and Pharmacy. Kidd on the serve. Up to Nall. Free ball at the rim. And the Eutectics able to score right there to make it 7-4. So just like that, it went from 4-0 to a 7-0 run to make it 4-7 in favor of the Eutectics. Cleggett, give it a go back to Hazard. Hazard gets it, and the Red Lions get the point there. They'll bring Sam Hazard set to serve. Here we go now. Cleggett, left side over to Olden. And that goes out of bounds, and LCU now only trails by 1, make it 7-6. Here we go now. Sam Hazard still with service. As that is a high, lofty one to the back of the defense. Rogers lobs it up. Reno takes a stab, and that goes off the hand of Sam Hazard out of bounds. And now the side out control for the Utectics. Reno on the serve. Cleggett in the middle. Over to Price. Price, a ferocious hit, and that goes out of bounds. So great hit by Jordan Price to put LCU back on the board. It's 8-7. So Jordan Price now on the serve. As that goes up. And free ball up at the rim, and they're going to call Cleggett with a double hit again. So lead pushes back to 2. Here we go now. Josie Burand. Over to Olden. Olden takes a hit. Rogers, left side to Brown. Brown goes out. No, we're going to saves. Yep, we're going to call the tip. It is now a 10-7 game. Took a sec, got to get the sweat off the court. But here we go. So Barron set to serve, the freshman from Springfield, Missouri. And that serve just off the hands of Karis Horton. And lead now up to 11-7. Earl Barron the serve. A bullet straight to Jordan Price. Cleggett hits it high in the air. Olden takes a swing. Yep. What they're going to call? Yep, they're going to say that she was in the net. So 5-point lead now. Here we go now. Olden. Great swing through and hit by Phoebe Olden. Here we go now. Brown takes a hit, and that lands firmly in red line territory. Here we go. Brown on the serve for the Utectics, and that's hit off of Phoebe Olden. And that'll be a point towards Health Science and Pharmacy. We're at Lauren Brown now. To Cleggett. Cleggett goes towards Alicia Smith. Price, Cleggett, back to Olden. And that lands back in LCU territory. If you missed the second game between the Utectics and the Trojans, Utectics were very, very active amongst the net. Very rarely let any hits fly. And they turned back to that as Jordan Price, though, finds the gap in the defense, and she throws it down for LCU. Here we go now, Aubrey Mann. Cleggett has it for LCU. Left side over to Sam Hazard. Goes off the block attempt, and here we go. Landrum. Free ball in the air. Smith and Cleggett run into each other. Price just lobs it up there. Rogers. The Londrin. Good hit that time, Alicia Smith. Rogers. Back to Mann. Hazard just going to try to loft one over the defense, but no success that time. Is Landrum now. Back over to Cleggett. In the middle to Bologna, and Bologna finds the sweet spot and scores for the Red Lions. Here we go now. Tracy Bologna with the serve. Goes back over. Price. And a couple access denies. The Eutectics get possession. Here we go now. Mackenzie Rogers set to serve things away. Controlled by Sam Hazard. Kicks it over. Price will take a swing at it. And just good hustle plays on both ends of the court right now. Hazard finds the deck. And they're going to say point to LCU. Making now 17-11. Here we go, Franny Null with service. Mackenzie Rogers kicks it up top that time, swing through. Here we go, Cleggett swings over to Hazard. Hazard throws the ball into the net. It's now 18-11 in favor of the Eutectics. Coming to the game now, we got Caitlyn Kidd. Kidd, Cleggett, Price, Cleggett to back to Price. And, a great block at the front end that time by Landrum, and Brown. Very lethal when she gets to attack. Here we go. Hazard takes a swing. That's right back. They'll say that landed out of bounds. Give the points to the Eutectics. Or, excuse me, give the point to the Red Lions. And a ferocious hit in the front row by Reno. And the Eutectics get possession right back. Here we go now. Reno set to serve. Olden hits it. Back to Reno. And a good hustle play that time by the Eutectics. As Price tried to just tap it over the top of the net, but that was unsuccessful. And it's now a 20-12 ball game. Here we go now. Reno with the serve. Up top to Cleggett. She goes back to Price. Price pushes the back row of the Eutectic defense. Here we go now. Swing through, and that is a point. Great hit that time by Darlene Zedeker. And it's now 21-12. Cleggett hits Price in the middle. As that lands amongst a couple of Eutectic defenders, and the point goes to LCU. Melania checks in. Fultz checks out. So Jordan Price will serve. Here we go now. Jordan Price on the serve. Top to Landrum. Cleggett goes to Cleggett. And great hustle play, but You're going to see she got underneath that one. So the point goes back in favor of LCU. It's 21-14. Here we go. Brown over to Claggett. Claggett finds Bologna in the middle. And great spot that time by Tracy Bologna. And she's done that a couple times now where she finds just the right spot right in the middle of the Utectic defense. Here we go now. Jordan Price set to serve. Gets it over to Rogers, to Olden, to Claggett, back to Price. Good slam through, but even better dig there. Brown, she'll take a swing. Up top to Claggett, finds Bologna right in the middle. Landrum to Claggett, to Horton, back to Jordan Price. Good volley by both teams right now, but that ball goes out of bounds. And it's now 21-16. Here we go now. Jordan Price set to serve. And that goes right into the net. So the point and the possession goes back towards the Utectics. And checking back into the game now, we got Josie Barnes. And here we go now. Barons with the ball. And that serve makes a beeline straight into the net. Says, who put that net there? The best defender in all of volleyball, undefeated every single time. It's now 17, serving 22. Here we go, Brown. She swinging, nobody there for LCU. It's 23-17. So now Brianna Landrum checks back in. And that will put Lauren Brown at the service spot. So Brown goes through. Goes up top to Bologna. Here we go now. Landrum. And they're going to give the point off the double hit to LCU to make it 23-18. So that'll make Phoebe Olden the serviceman. And they're saying out of bounds, says line judge Mr. Zach. So it's now set point for the Utectics. Here we go now. Smith takes a wild swing. Brown back over to Smith. Claggett lobs it up. Fins up in the hands of Jordan Price. And Price gets the points. It's now 24-19. LCU having a very admirable comeback, but they got to score a lot of points in a hurry here. Bologna with the serve. That goes out of bounds, and that will conclude set number 2. The Utectics take it by a score of 25-19. We're going to take a break, but then we'll be back here for the third set in just a moment here on the Red Line Network. As we go into the third set, University of Health Science and Pharmacy in St. Louis have taken the first two by a score of 25-16 and 25-19. So we'll see if LCU can have a little answer for them as the Tactics hit the scoreboard first here in this one, 1-0. As LCU answers, they go back on the scoreboard. So Franny Nall will check in. The 5'2" freshman from Hebron, Indiana. Great serve that time by Nall, and here come the Tactics now as Reno slams it down. Rio Claggett almost got in the way of her own teammate Jordan Price. Price able to recover and get that. And that off the hands of Franny Nall goes out of bounds. The Tactics now lead 3-1. Here we go. Great block that time by the LCU defenders. Brown goes up. Hazard, great hustle right there. Price got to tip it over, and she does. Rogers hits it out. And they're going to say that she wasn't tipped right there, so the point goes to LCU. Here we go now. 2 serving 3. Sam Hazard with service. Price tries to slam it down off the miscue. Here we go. Brown, she tries to hit it. Claggett over to Olden. And Olden not able to put the ball over the net. So they call him for 4. This is making now 4-2. Here goes Josie Barron set to serve. Here we go. It's great spot right there by Jordan Price. And she puts LCU back on the board, make it 4-3 now. Price way strong on that one. Mentioned the second game. Lifting is encouraged in volleyball, but not enough to the point where you throw the ball out of bounds. As that will put Brianna Landrum back into the game. Now serving Lauren Brown, the 6-foot senior out of Phoenix, Arizona. There you go, Claggett. Excuse me, that was Olden. Free ball up in the air, and yep, they're going to call the double hit right there. Point goes to the Red Lions. As Claggett goes back to serve, Alicia Smith checks in. It's now 4-5. Claggett goes up top, just lobs it over right there. Is Evelyn McQueen. Claggett can't get quite there to it in time. It's now 6-4. Speaking of 6, number 6, Aubrey Mann, set to be in service now. Serve up by Mann. The line drives right for Phoebe Olden. Here we go now. Alicia Smith lobs it over. Rogers kick it over. That time access denied by LCU. Olden. Over to Rogers. Rogers back to Landrum. As Olden will swing and hits. As it is now 6-5. in favor of the Tactics. LCU keeping this one at bay here early. See if they can go for the tie right here. Phoebe Olden on the service. Here we go. Reno goes off the hands of Cleggett, and the ball goes the other way. And it's now 7-5 in favor of the Tactics. Here we go now. Mackenzie Rogers on the serve. Will be hit up and returns as Price takes a swing. Met by a couple blockers, but the ball lands inbounds. And it's going to be a Red Lion point, make it 6-7 now. Here we go now, Tracy Bologna. Up to Rogers. Rogers goes cross court that time to Zedrick. Or excuse me, to Zediker. And she's able to score to make it a 8-6 game. As Michaela Fultz checks in. Freshman from Mattoon, Illinois, as well as for the Tactics, Caitlyn Kidd, the sophomore from Colorado Springs, Colorado, with Pine Creek High School. So Kidd now. It's up Cleggett, kicks it up in the air, goes over to Smith. Smith goes out of bounds. Close call over on the other line, but Mr. Line Judge Ian Pitts calling it out, so therefore it's out to make it 9-6. Here we go now, Kidd in service. A bullet serve gets it over the net, and here we go now. Rogers over to Brown, and Brown slams it down to make it 10-6. Service still up by Kidd. Cleggett kicks to the far side to Price. Price, access denied, throws it back in the way, and LCU gets on the board. And that'll mean Franny Nalch comes back in to serve. Here we go, Nall on the service. Excellent serve right there. Ends up right in the back row of the Utectic defense. Price got to hit it over and goes right into the net. Give the point back to the University of Health Science and Pharmacy. Cleggett goes up, gives it over to Hazard that time. And that off the fingertips of Mackenzie Rogers ends up at a point for LCU, and they cut the lead down to 3, make it 11-8. We're going to have Sam Hazard. A bullet serve barely gets over the net, but does the trick. Here we go now. Fultz, Cleggett, over to Olden. Olden takes a swing. But Mann able to take that out, and Kidd takes a crack at it from the back row. Cleggett as of LCU, over to Olden, and that hits. Yep, they're calling it 4 right there, so the point goes back in favor with the Tactics. Then I'll bring up Josie Barron, the freshman from Springfield, Missouri, by way of Kickapoo High School. Barron goes up, another line drive serve. Mann, Rogers, swing it straight down for McQueen, and McQueen finds the sweet spot in the defense to score to make it 13-8. So Barron now over to Cleggett. Cleggett goes left to right with it into Olden. Brown hits it up. Kick it over to Kidd. Good spot right there. Free ball up at the rim. That's good push right there by Phoebe Olden in the back of the defense. And the lead now to 4. As Fultz checks out, Bologna checks in, so Jordan Price, a junior from Fulton, Illinois, by way of Webster University, back to serve. Here we go now. Cleggett over to Olden, and Olden finds a sweet spot and hits it down for LCU. It's now 13-10. Bryce on the serve. As free ball goes out, bounds to give the point back to Tactics. As checking back into the game, you got Brianna Landrum. It's a great spot right there once again by Phoebe Olden. Phoebe Olden coming alive right now for the Red Lions. So Cleggett now to serve. Off the hands of Aubrey Mann right there, and that's another point for LCU. It's a 2-point game. Cleggett now to serve. Another line drive up to Mann. Mann back to Rogers. Rogers shuts it down. And off the block party for LCU, McQueen awarded the point, as well as the possession and a 3-point lead, 15-12, in favor of UHSP. You go, Brown up in the air, gives it back to Reno, and Reno puts it down with authority. So Aubrey Mann with the ball. Bryce, Cleggett in the middle to Bologna, and Bologna has to go out of bounds, but they're going to say it was tipped. So the point goes to LCU. Here we go now. Bryce gets it over with Hazard. Goes up top to Cleggett. Cleggett finds Bologna in the middle. Bologna puts it down for LCU. It's now 16-14. Olden on the serve. Able to get it over Cleggett to Smith. Good volley going on right now. Cleggett kicks it back up to Hazard. Hazard takes a swing at it. Brown, Rogers, Reno, just out of the reach of Cleggett. It's now 17-14. Here we go, Mackenzie Rogers now. This it over to that time Hazard, and that goes out of bounds. Give the point to LCU. LCU doing a good job. They're not letting Tactics get away from this one, keeping the team at bay for sure. Here we go now. Cleggett has it for LCU. Price sees a hole in the defense, can't expose it. Here we go. Rogers goes back to Landrum. Off of Michaela Fultz on the left side. Hazard kicks it back in the air. Rogers in the middle. Man has to just get it away. Horton pops it up. And broken volleyball ends up in a score for LCU. It's 18-16 now. And that'll bring in Franny Nall to serve. Here we go, ball up in the air. Cleggett goes over to Hazard on the left side, and that goes out of bounds. Make it now 19-16. As Reno goes back to serve for the Utectics, and that one hit the net and bounces back the other way to make it 19-17 now. Is Hazard back to serve now. As that one goes out of bounds, but it was tipped off of Cleggett, so the point stays with UHSP, and they're now just 5 points away from taking the match. LCU, though, showing a lot of fight in this one, as it is 20-17. See if they can close in this gap and maybe steal set. Rogers over to Cleggett. Cleggett finds Olden. Brown off the hit. And nobody there for LCU. It's now 21-17. So Barron now set to serve. A line drive serve right to Michaela Fultz. Cleggett sets it up. Price takes a hit. Rogers back to that time to number 9, Lauren Brown. And Lauren Brown sends a rocket down to the side of LCU, and it's 22-17 now. Here we go now. Josie Barron with the serve. Good misdirection by Cleggett. But better scrappy volleyball by the Utectics. Here we go now. Olden slams it down, and that's a point for the Red Lions. Phoebe Olden struggled with her touch earlier in this one, but she has found it in the later half of this match. Here we go. Price lobs it up. Get it to Mann, to Rogers. Back to Mann. A little give and go. Here we go. Olden once again goes up, and they're going to say it was off the ground. So Olden has a pair of kills in this one. It's 22-19. Here we go. Price lobs it up. Rogers goes back up top. That was McQueen. Nall pushes it out of bounds, but the Utectics able to keep possession. And that hit just out of the reach of Karis Horton, make it 23-19. Once again, for you Monsters Inc. fans, 23-19. We have a 23-19. Not at all. Here we go now. Lauren Brown lobs it up. Price gets it over. Rogers puts it over the top. Brown once again swings. Excellent dig right there by Jordan Price. And here come the Red Lions. And that one lands in Utectic territory. And it's now 23-20. LCU with their highest scoring set so far. So Lee Cleggett now set to serve. Man up to Rogers. Rogers gives it right back, and that time great hit by Evelyn McQueen from Lee Summit, Missouri, and it is now match point for the Utectics. As that one, here we go. Cleggett, free ball at the net, and that concludes the match. So a complete sweep by the University of Health Science and Pharmacy. They take the third set 25-20. So that'll conclude our action here on a Thursday night here at the Laughlin Center. Reminder, tomorrow starts the AII Classic. You can see the Red Lions in action against Connie's College. That will game be at 5 o'clock tomorrow night. Got a lot of great volleyball action coming at you this weekend. Well, that'll conclude tonight's volleyball action. I'm Jared Glassford. Thank you for tuning in here on the